Everyone, and welcome back to the channel. It's the Eradicator, and in this video we'll be talking about the game that was formerly known as Starfighter Inc., which is now called In the Black. Now, this is a game that had its own Discord campaign a while back, a couple of years ago, and you can see that it has been doing quite well, at least here on Kickstarter, where it was supposed, they tried to raise $150,000 and it was funded with $170,000 and over 3,000 backers. Now, there's been a couple of videos and information about In the Black on Steam. You can, for example, wishlist the game right here with a planned release date for 2022. Now, what is Starfighter Inc., or should I say In the Black, about? Well, I think that the best is to have a look at some of its description on their website as well. So they said that they love space shooters and they all play the hell out of X-Wing, Wing Commander, and an entire generation of amazing space games. That's why they're so excited to be creating the next game with that rich lineage, In the Black, a hardcore team-based PvP multiplayer space shooter in the vein of X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Now, of course, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, for those of you people of my generation, you know that this was one of the best game of its genre when it comes to PvP. I'm not talking PvE, I'm talking about PvP, right? PvP back at the end of the 1990s. But they say that, let's see who is doing this game here. Jack Mames, who's the director. He worked on MechWarrior 2, Heavy Gear 2, Far Cry, and Crisis. And David Westman, who is senior producer and evangelist. That's weird. I mean, why does he even say that? Anyway, who worked on the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter series, as well as Bloodwake and Saints Raw. So, let's have a look here. So at the core, In the Black is an intense multiplayer team-based online space combat simulator with a laser-like focus on the combat and a serious respect for science, which earned the Atomic Rocket Seal of Approval. Very interesting here. So that's going to be something quite different from all of the other games that are out there, which do have, I'm thinking of Elite Dangerous, Star Citizen, do have Newtonian physics, but this one is trying to go a little bit forward, a little bit further, by trying to be as realistic as possible and to also imagine and design spaceships and space stations that could be real in the future, because it's something that's very striking. When you look at spaceships, in today's world, you think that these are very different looking from all of those spaceships that we see in sci-fi, right? And when you look at the spaceships from Impaler Studios here, from In the Black, you're going to see, we're going to have a look at them as well later. We're going to see that they do indeed look quite different from spaceships that we would normally see in sci-fi movies and games too. So that's already something quite interesting on its own. So they did say that the Impaler Studios are led by industry veterans like Jack Mamet and David Westman, and they all say that they are hardcore gamers themselves, and they believe in skill-based, and that skills is basically rewarding, right? They also say that there's a mature content description, intense violence, and mild, large, and moderate use of profanity. Well, there should be, I think, because I don't know, it's just, it's more realistic, I would say. So, what does this game look like? Let's have a look at some of those videos here. And something that really did strike me. So, yes, if you were wondering, it takes place in the solar system, by the way. So, we're not going to see any alien worlds, alien star systems. It's all around, Saturn, Jupiter, maybe Mars, I don't know. But we've only seen so far the area around Saturn. So I guess that's where it's happening, at least so far in the closed beta. They're in beta phase right now. They're not in the alpha phase anymore. So there we have a couple of. It's all happening very quickly here, and the graphics are not the best. We're just going to say that way. The graphics are not the best. But I think that it's not necessarily the point of this game. The point of this game is to instead focus more on the physics themselves and trying to have something that will be as close as possible from actual space combat that could perhaps happen one day in the future in real life. So that's why some of the explosions out there look very outdated. These asteroids looks like they could be coming straight out of the X3, which was released a while back as well. So that's not really a game that you would play for its graphics. The UI, by the way, if you look at the UI when we have a look at the inside of the cockpit, definitely looks like what there you go, like this, right? Definitely looks like what we would see in the old X-Wing series. So that's where you can see the influence of the old makers of the venerable X-Wing series. So I think that this is definitely a game that I am intrigued in. Definitely, they seem to be focusing on multiplayer. So that's also going to be an interesting part. I'm not sure if there's going to be a single. They do say that there's a single player. There are single player elements here as well as co-op and also in-app purchases. So that's something that they have not been communicating on that much. I hope that it's not going to get to a pay-to-win simulation because making a game does cost a lot of money. They haven't raised that much. So perhaps those in-app purchases are going to be part of their business models. I guess we'll see. Let's have a look very quickly at some of their ships here.
Friendly forces captured Alpha.
The Pegasus is often the backbone of any mixed fighter group, as it frees friendly pilots flying faster ships.
So this ship is like kind of a transport ship that's supposed to be a space ram as well. So it's going to also have its own type of different gameplay. Yeah, that's something that I noticed as well, is that those screen captures seemed quite junky indeed. I just hope that it's going to be looking a little bit more stable. They did say that the footage is not the final footage, and it definitely makes sense. Now you can see all the different side thrusters, and it's very interesting to see that those ships are absolutely not aerodynamic at all. They are not trying to make the ships look like space planes, which is something very interesting and unique so far. Lots of turrets pretty much everywhere, so that's also this seems like this one is going to be quite a tough one for sure. There you go. Get to have a look at the interior as well. So I like that we have third-person view, cockpit view, and even if you are in the third-person view, you seem to be also having access to some of the UI that is going to allow you to do whatever you want to do, which is not the case in Star Citizen, for example. When you get access to the third-person view, you don't see anything. Let's have a look at a couple more ships here. We're not going to see the Hyperion because it's still in white box phase, but the Reyes also was an interesting one. Let's have a look here.
Space superiority fighter with best-in-class staying power.
I mean, look at that. This thing,
from Kolas Shipbuilders.
This thing is a space superiority fighter. How does it look? Like a fighter, like you would think, X-Wing from Star Wars. You would think of Hornet in Star Citizen. You would think of the Eagle in Elite Dangerous, but in in the black, this thing, which looks like a satellite, is the space superior fighter. But I'm laughing, but the reality is that this is actually the direction that we're taking right now in our real lives when it comes to spacecraft. So that's why I'm laughing, but it's actually not funny. It's actually sadly the reality, and that's a very interesting approach. And I don't know any other game maker that's taking this approach of making spaceships that look like how they could be looking like in the reality. And I like this because it's going to prepare us. I guess that it's a good way to prepare us to what is coming in the next coming decades of century, right? Instead of being delusional and thinking that we're going to have planes in space. That's really not how it's going to happen. So a very bold approach, and something that I would like to encourage on this channel as well, which is why I'm talking about it. But anyway, guys, let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about what are your impressions here about In the Black? What do you think about the idea of piloting space superiority fighters that look like a satellite. It's very intriguing to me, and I can't wait to be seeing. I'll be trying it out on the channel for sure, and I can't wait to be seeing how it feels, how it plays, and how they fight. Anyway, guys, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. This is the Eradicator. I'll see you guys later. This video is brought to you by the people who support this channel on Patreon and via the join button as well. Supporters of the channel get access to lots of cool perks such as access to my private Discord, your question answered in the show, you get to know when I'm going to play, and also you get to have a chance to influence the editorial line of the channel. Any help is appreciated, starts at just $1 a month. Thank you very much for watching. This is the Eradicator, and I'll see you guys later.